Welcome back to another episode of Let Love Be Your Guide. My name is your host, Dominique Chantel, and I will be guiding you through. Y'all, welcome back. I have taken a few weeks off and I needed the rest. And so I appreciate you just staying here with me, being here with me, tuning back in. So I'm going to pick up from a series that I started about a month ago called Let Me Love You. And in this series, this is part two, I'm teaching how you love yourself. So let me love you, okay? Let me love you and teach you how to love yourself. And so that's what this is about. So I hope you guys are ready for the second part. So I want to go back really quickly to the first part of Let Me Love You, where I talk about being kind to yourself, number one, being patient with yourself, and giving yourself grace. Those are the first few things that you must have in order for you to love yourself and in order for you to offer that to someone else, okay? So just want to let you know those things. And before we get into this episode, I also do want to plug my book, Let Love Be Your Guide, Volume 1. So this is the first of many, and I'm so excited. If you haven't already, please go pick up a copy, share with your family, your friends, whoever you know may be going through a bad breakup, a divorce, or even just learning to love yourself. I wrote this book because I didn't have a tool when going through my divorce to validate my feelings. Was I supposed to feel like this going through my divorce? And trying to find self-love, and in the midst, I ended up finding self-love and finding myself and just knowing that God loved me and he put everything that I needed on the inside of me. So that is me basically sharing my journey. Keep in mind now, I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive about my stuff. So I'm going to just let you know it is near and dear to my heart. And so, but I love feedback and I love feedback. And so just give it to me. You know, you can write a review on the book. So I'm excited. You can click the link below. I'm going to put it below. And also you can go to my Instagram. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram. I'm at Dominique Chantel, on Twitter, Dominique77. And then on Facebook at Dominique. You can find me through my email, Dominique Shen. No, you can find me in my email, Dominique Songbird at gmail.com on Facebook, okay? Because I only go by one name on Facebook. All right, check out my website again. You can order my book on Amazon, DominiqueChantel.com. You can go there and order it now. So thank you so much for listening. And so let's go ahead and get right into the episode. So part two of Let Me Love You. So, for me, self-love is very important because if you don't know how to love yourself, then how will you know how to love others? Whether in a romantic relationship, whether you're talking about your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your cousins. And so that's why my goal is to help as many people as I can to know that they have to love themselves first before they can love anybody else. And we know that love through God. God is love. He shows us the first love. He is our first love. And so I would just hope that you would know that God's love is the greatest. It's the best. I'll tell you this, even in my times of darkness, in my times of depression, you know, in my times of self-doubt, worry, fear, you know, I go to God and I fill up on his goodness. I fill up on his grace. I fill up on everything that he has said about me, that his love is complete, that his love fulfills me. It fills me up. And so when I have the assurance of God resting on the inside of my heart and in my soul, I know that everything will be okay. And again, in my darkest moments, the thing that kept me going was to know that God loved me and to know that I loved myself, you know, and he taught me how to love. The Bible says we love because he first loved us. You know, man, God is so amazing. If you don't know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, I would man, just encourage you to get to know him. Just pick up your Bible, start reading it, watch sermons, anything that you can get your hands on to just build a relationship with Christ. I would say do that. But when I tell you God has been my rock, he is the cornerstone. He's been the refuge in times of trouble. He's been all those things. Everything that I've learned about growing up in church, God has been all those things for me, and I'm so grateful to him. And I'm so grateful for him being in my life. And I'm just thankful. I'm grateful. And I know that with everything going on in the world, that he is my provider and he will keep me. All right. And so I pray that he will shed that light and keep you as well. And you know that you can rest in his arm. You can rest in his bosom, knowing that he will keep you. He will provide for you. Okay. So that's my testimony. But and I'll share again. You can look at the other podcast episodes to get more of my journey and where I come from and my battles that I have faced. And so divorce again was one of the toughest things that I have ever gone through in my adult life. It brought up a lot of emotions, a lot of healing that had not taken place. So I had to learn to love myself. I had to go back to this place of self-discovery, this place of self-love, this place of digging up old wounds. When I talk about old wounds, I didn't even know that I hadn't fully grieved the loss of my mother who died when I was 1 year old. I hadn't fully grieved during the process of my divorce. Well, after the divorce was finalized, yeah, my uncle passed away, and that brought up more grief. And so it's hard, and if I hadn't learned to love myself, it would have been rough for me. And so in these moments, in moments of when life gets hard, when life gets tough, I challenge you to dig deep and go deep. Do you love yourself? Do you take care of yourself? Do you take yourself out on dates? Do you take yourself to the movies? Listen, you can only receive and you can only love others at the capacity that you love yourself. And so you have to get this self-love, okay? You have to get it, all right? You can't go around it because I'm telling you, you're going to come right back through it. So the next point I want to talk about after, I talk about giving grace. You have to give yourself grace and extend that grace to others. So the next thing that I say is that you have to be humble. Loving yourself, you really have to, number one, know who you are and know what you were put here to do. Humility is something that it's not thinking of yourself like in a low position. That's not what humility is. Humility is thinking of yourself as, I know who I am in this earth. I'm a daughter of the King. I am a son of the King. And so that means I walk in a certain authority. But I know my worth. I know my value. That never changes no matter what you go through, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going to go through. Your worth, who you are, never changes. And I'm talking about who you are in Christ, what God calls you, because he made us. And so with that, he put everything that we need down on the inside of us, and we have to dig deep. That's why I say dig deep. We have to find those little nuggets, and we have to find the joys of life. We have to find and change our perspective when things aren't going our way. You have to change your perspective. You have to learn to be grateful. You have to learn to be content. And so when I say be humble, that means knowing where you fit in this world, knowing your worth, and standing firm in that, being humble, taking up your place in the world, saying, I know I was put here to do this. No, I don't think I'm better than anyone else, because I don't think I'm better than anyone else. We are all on the same equal platform, but I know my value. I know the gifts that I bring. And so with that, I'm going to go out and do what God has called me to do in this earth. I'm going to humble myself and serve others and do what He has called me to do. That's what being humble is, okay? So be humble. Be humble. You have to be humble and learning to love yourself, okay? Knowing your worth. Next, and love keeps no record of right or wrong. You know, when I say that, you loving yourself has everything to do with not holding yourself to something or a mistake or your past that you did yesterday, right? So love keeps no record of right and wrong. So when you say that, it's like, okay, I know I messed up yesterday. I'm going to move past that. I'm going to do better. What can I do to do better today? Case in point, for me, I struggle with the whole um, mom guilt, like as far as working a lot, to provide for my children. And, I'll maybe fall asleep on the couch. And this is little things, or this is things that matter to me. Like when we're watching a movie, I'll fall asleep on the couch. And, it gets to me because while I'm watching a movie with my kids, and I'm like, dang, I don't want them to feel like I don't care. I don't want to watch this movie. It's just that I'm so tired. I worked so hard. I'm just tired. Mommy's tired, so I fell asleep. And I guess it doesn't make it any better that, my son or my daughter asked, like, Mommy, you not going to stay up and watch the movie? Or you didn't stay up and watch the movie with us? And so I feel bad. So for me, I have to forgive myself. I have to not keep a record of that, and I have to move on. For tomorrow, I can say, you know what, we're going to watch this movie earlier in the day. Instead of watching this movie at 9 o'clock, yeah, I'd be falling asleep at 9, 10 o'clock. If I had a long day, I'm telling you, I will. I'll fall asleep anywhere. Instead of watching the movie at 9 o'clock, guess what? We're going to watch this movie at 7. So that gives us 2 hours to have family time for me to spend time with my kids. So that's how we fix that problem. So even with your spouse or your significant other, if you're still bringing up old stuff from the past, let it go. Like, what is that doing? Nothing but creating more confusion, creating more problems for you. Love keeps no record of right when somebody was right or when they were wrong. So just let it go, because we all have this thing that we tend to hold on to things sometimes, and we can't. We have to live life in the present moment, and we have to learn to love in the present moment, and we have to learn to give in the present moment, and we have to learn to be in the present moment. I've realized in my life, when I was in the present moment, there was not a worry about tomorrow. There was not a worry about what bill was going to get paid. There was not a worry of what this vacation day would look like or what I'm doing tomorrow. When I'm in this very moment, I can stop right now and I can be grateful that I am here, that I am alive, that I am well, that I have healthy children, that they are alive, that they are well, that they are smart, that they are intelligent, that I have beautiful parents, that my children are beautiful, that I have a support system around me that loves me, that wants to see me do well. And so when I stop in this very moment, because this is all that I have, this moment that I have with you, just take it in. Like, I'm able to do this podcast. I'm able to talk to you about my journey. I'm grateful for this moment because this is all that we have right now. 45 minutes ago, it's gone. When I was at the gym earlier, that's gone. But it's this moment right here. And so I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to soak it up. I'm going to live life. I'm going to press through. And I am going to maximize the moment that I have. And so be in the moment. If you have not gotten past something that happened in your past, in your childhood trauma, you need to speak to somebody about it. Point blank. If you're still dealing with it, you need to speak to somebody about it, because there's a block that's holding on to you that you can't let it go. So Love keeps no records of right or wrong, and it forgives. You know, I don't never want to be around nobody that doesn't know how to forgive. If you have not like forgiven your mom for something or your dad or even a relative, if you don't know how to forgive, you can't be in my circle. You know, if you hold people to certain things, you can't even be in my circle because I know that's the same love or that's the caring that you're going to show me. And I don't want that in my life. I need somebody to say, you know what, Dominique messes up, but I still love her. I'm still gonna, help her. I'm still gonna give to her, and vice versa. You will get the same out of me from my friendship, because we all fall short. We're all imperfect, and so we have to learn to forgive. All right, so love keeps no record of right and wrong. Okay, remember that and forgive. Lastly, in order to fully love yourself, you have to say right here in this moment, I love me for all my faults, for all the flaws. I love me for everything that has happened in the past. This very moment, I love me just the way I am. Not saying that you can't grow or evolve, but that's where that giving yourself grace. I give myself grace enough to know that even though I'm constantly growing and evolving, I'm not there or where I want to be yet. I'm pressing toward the mark. And I know that each day I get better. I do better. I want to be better. And so at that moment, I give myself grace when I don't hit the mark, when I'm not doing what I want to do or doing what I have my mind set on doing. I'm not there yet. I haven't let go of the little white lies yet. Okay? I haven't let go of me playing tit for tat yet. But I know I'm pressing toward when somebody does something to me, I don't go back and get them back. Those are just examples. I know I'm pressing toward the mark. And so when you love yourself unconditionally, you have to learn to love yourself unconditionally. Nobody can do that for you. And loving yourself unconditionally means, again, loving you where you are, knowing that you are not perfect. You will never be perfect, but you are doing your very best to be the best version of yourself that you can be. That's what this life is about. That's what I'm passionate about getting myself to become the best version that I can be, getting you to become the best version of yourself that you can be. Okay? That's what this life is about. And that's what we need to press toward. So when you talk about letting someone else love you, you can only love somebody at the capacity that you love yourself. That's just point blank. I don't care what nobody has told you. I know this is it. If somebody says, I love you, like more than let me see what I'm, so if somebody says, I love you, but then their actions don't show that they love you, like if they're hitting you, that's not love. I'm sorry. But love don't hit me upside the head. Okay? Because I would never harm myself. So that's why it's important for you to love yourself first. Okay? Because most people of domestic violence or of trauma have grown up with domestic violence in the home. And so that's what their picture of what they saw as a child as love. So what they will repeat in a relationship is the same thing. They will have a man that beats them because they think that that is love, but it's truly not. And that's why it's so important to heal our traumas, and to heal the past, especially childhood traumas. Talk to somebody, get a therapist. I will always tell you to go and talk to someone because, you know, I have put myself in therapy. I had to, in order to get through the things that I am going through, that I am still going through. And so, in loving yourself, you will know that love does not intentionally hurt you, doesn't physically abuse you, doesn't mentally abuse you. And so that's why when you love yourself, you can recognize those signs. When somebody puts their hand on you, you're like, okay, I can immediately walk away from this situation because I know that's not love, right? I can immediately walk away from a situation if a man puts his hand on me because I know that's not love. I can immediately walk away from a situation if a woman puts her hand on me because that's not love. I can immediately walk away from a situation because I recognize you talking down to me. That's not love. Being mentally abusive, verbally, abusive. Same thing. That's not love. I recognize that now. And so I can walk away from a situation knowing that is not love. Okay? I want you to get this so bad because you loving yourself is one of the reasons why this podcast was born. Let love be your guide. May love always be a guiding force in your life, that you do things from a place of love, that you, even when you don't feel like it, you will love somebody. Okay? Can I just say that I know that my superpower, I know the way I love someone, anybody in my circle, it's different. And I've always known that at a young age. And so I never knew, though, at a young age that that me loving somebody unconditionally, let me say this. I knew that I was different in me loving people the way I love people at a young age. And so I know how to love people unconditionally. Faults, flaws. But the thing about that is I have to be protective over my heart and over my mind because I love the way I do. I'm now so sensitive to who I bring into my circle because honestly, some people will abuse you and some people will use you for your love and for what you have to offer. And so there's a really tight space. I feel like Jay-Z, he says tight circle, like no squares, because I've been abused, I've been used, and I've learned to forgive those people and I've learned to move on. But when again, that goes back to knowing who you are. If you know who you are and you know your love and the level of love that you can give unconditionally, you can keep your circle tight and you can keep your circle close. I now know I have to do that. So, because I love the way I love, I love people unconditionally. And that's just who God made me. That's just who I am. And so that's why you have to know and have to know yourself and love yourself. Okay? So, before we close out, I just want to go back through the 6 things that you need to have to love yourself and offer it to others. So, number 1, in loving yourself, you have to be kind to yourself. Okay? Be kind to yourself. You are an amazing human being. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You are God's creation. To be patient with yourself. When things don't go your way and stuff is not working out, be patient. If you, for me, are still waiting to get a degree, For me, that's me, my testimony. I'm being patient with myself. I have to know that it's a process and I'm working on it. I have to be patient with myself. Number three, give grace. Give grace to yourself. God gives it freely. It's nothing that we can earn, but He gives it to us. So you have to give yourself grace. Do that. Next, be humble. Take up your space in the world. Your God given purpose, and know and move with that authority and move with that, knowing that you have everything in abundance and knowing who you are. Okay? Not thinking of yourself in a low position or you're not better than anybody else, but you know who you are. So guess what? I'm going to move through this world knowing who I am, and I'm going to take up my space in the world. I'm going to use it to help people and be a blessing. Next, love keeps no record of right and wrong, and love forgives. So be forgiving. If somebody does something to you, you know what? Forgiveness, I'm going to go ahead and forgive you, and I'm going to move through it. And that's the thing. God may still be working on you with all of these things as He's working on me with the love keeps no record of right or wrong, because truthful as it's told, I have kept some records of right and wrong. So I'm just being honest. I'm human just like you. I'm pressing toward the mark, okay? And then lastly, love has no conditions. When you truly love somebody, you love them unconditionally. That's how God calls us to love people, because the thing is, He knows that we mess up. He knows that we are flawed. And so if we can't love people unconditionally, we will always have something there to say, well, they did that, and that's why I ain't doing that for them, or that's why I ain't extending this to them or loving them. So it's important. God calls us to love people, you know. So yeah, all right. Learn to love yourself. And this is the end of our episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please download my podcast. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get all the alerts when new videos come out. Also, continue to support. I'm working on my new book. It's a lot for me, I will say, y'all. Working on this book, and I'm actually in the process of getting a social media manager, because I haven't had a lot of time to write, and I love writing. It's therapy for me, and it's really gets me through a lot of my days. And so since I haven't had a lot of time, I'm like, I need to get somebody to manage social media. So if you know of somebody, tell them to reach out to me. Email me, DominiqueChantel777@gmail.com, or send me a DM in IG. And I definitely need help. So you'll be hearing more from me. I have a lot of things in the works. I have a t-shirt line that I'm working on, so be looking out for that. God is so good. So I want to encourage you to let love be your guide in life, today, forever, and always. I love you guys. Bye.